I'm standing in my Seattle penthouse, the Elliott Bay view sparkling through floor-to-ceiling windows, heart pounding as my parents, Robert and Diane, and my brother Tyler glare at me. It's my promotion party, and I've just poured my soul into hosting lasagna, tiramisu, the works. But instead of celebrating, they drop a bombshell. Hand over your keys, Emily. This penthouse belongs to the family. My stomach drops. Tyler smirks, waving renovation plans like he already owns the place. We're moving in, my dad barks while Mom nods, calling me selfish for resisting. I'm frozen, betrayed by the people who raised me. With shaking hands, I drop the keys and flee, tears blurring the Tacoma Narrows Bridge as I drive to my friend Mia's. An hour later, my phone pings, an email from the bank. Someone tried hacking my mortgage account. My parents. They didn't just want my home, they tried to steal it legally. I'm gutted, but rage kicks in. How far will they go? Hit like if family betrayal hits home, comment where you're watching from, and stick around to see how I fought back. The tears were still drying on my cheeks as I sat on Mia's couch in Tacoma, replaying that gut-wrenching moment at my penthouse. My parents, Robert and Diane, and my brother Tyler had ambushed me at my own promotion party, demanding the keys to my home like it was their birthright. I'd driven across the Tacoma Narrows Bridge in a daze. Their words, "This penthouse belongs to the family," cutting deeper than any knife. And that bank email, exposing their attempt to hack my mortgage account, was the final blow. I was reeling, but Mia, my best friend and a no-nonsense lawyer, snapped me out of it. "Emily, this isn't just betrayal, it's a crime," she said, her eyes blazing. "You need to fight back." I nodded, feeling a spark of resolve ignite through the fog of hurt. Where are you at with family drama? Drop it in the comments and let's keep going. Growing up in the Harper household in Tacoma was like living under a microscope. My parents controlled everything, my friends, my clothes, even my dreams. They called it love, but by high school, I saw it for what it was, control. I fought tooth and nail for freedom, applying for scholarships behind their backs. When MIT offered me a full ride, they couldn't argue with free, but their disappointment was palpable. "Why can't you stay local?" Mom whined. Those 4 years in Boston changed me. I found my passion in tech, coding late into the night, dreaming of a life I built myself. After graduating, I landed a job at a Seattle startup, grinding 80-hour weeks to climb the ladder. By 30, I'd saved enough for a down payment on my dream penthouse, a 1,200 square foot sanctuary with views of Elliott Bay, hardwood floors I'd polished myself, and a kitchen where I'd perfected my Nana's lasagna recipe. That place wasn't just a home, it was my declaration of independence. But my parents never let go. They'd nag about moving closer to Tacoma, suggesting I share my success by funding their retirement. "Family takes care of family," Dad would say, while Mom stored heirlooms in my penthouse, claiming their attic was too damp. I brushed it off as old-school parenting, even helping out with their bills, $2,000 for property taxes here, $1,500 for a new water heater there. I never asked for repayment. They were family, right? My brother Tyler, 2 years younger, was their golden boy. He lived in a studio above their garage, a contractor who fixed their roof and echoed their every word. "You're too independent," he'd sneer, siding with them in every argument. My friend Mia warned me, "They don't want you to outshine them.
Eminência.
They're using family to keep you on a leash." I laughed it off, thinking she was dramatic. God, I wish I'd listened. Looking back, the signs were there. Dad's questions about my mortgage got weirdly specific. "What's your interest rate? Fixed or variable?" Mom kept asking for a spare key for emergencies. I thought they were just nosy, maybe planning to refinance their own place. But Mia's words echoed. Information is power, and they've always wanted power over you. As I sat there, staring at that bank email, the truth hit like a freight train. They weren't just controlling, they were scheming. My penthouse, my pride, was their target. But I wasn't going down without a fight. If this resonates, Smash that subscribe button, and let's see what happened next. The sting of betrayal still burned as I sat on Mia's couch in Tacoma, the memory of my parents, Robert and Diane, and my brother Tyler demanding my penthouse keys, replaying like a bad movie. That night at my promotion party in Seattle, they'd turned my moment of triumph into a nightmare, claiming my home, my 200-square-foot sanctuary overlooking Elliott Bay, as family property. Driving across the Tacoma Narrows Bridge, tears blurring my vision. I'd barely processed their audacity when the bank's email hit. They'd tried hacking my mortgage account. Mia, my lawyer best friend, had lit a fire under me. "This is a crime, Emily," she'd said, her voice steel. "You're fighting back." Growing up under my parents' control in Tacoma, where every choice, from friends to curfews, was theirs, had taught me to endure. But my years at MIT, my grind in Seattle's tech scene, and that penthouse I'd built from scratch, they were my rebellion, my freedom. Now my family wanted to steal it all. Mia's warning about their power games echoed as I vowed to protect what was mine. If family dramas hit you hard, drop it in the comments, and let's dive into what happened next. That promotion party was supposed to be my victory lap. I'd just been named lead developer at my startup, a role I'd clawed my way toward with 80-hour weeks and endless code reviews. To celebrate, I'd gone all out in my penthouse, homemade lasagna layered with ricotta, tiramisu dusted with cocoa, and fairy lights casting a warm glow over the hardwood floors I'd refinished myself. The 12-foot windows framed Elliott Bay's twinkling lights, a view that reminded me daily why I'd fought for this life. I'd invited a few colleagues, Mia and, reluctantly, my parents, hoping they'd finally see me as the successful woman I'd become, not the kid they still tried to leash. Tyler's last-minute arrival, uninvited, should have been my first red flag. "Hope you don't mind," Mom said, breezing in with a $10 bottle of grocery store Merlot. He was free. I forced a smile, ignoring the knot in my gut, and played host, refilling glasses and sharing my big news. The vibe shifted fast. Dad barely acknowledged my promotion, instead grilling me about my mortgage. "What's your rate?" 30-year fixed. Mom fussed over my decor, rearranging my vintage candlesticks like she owned the place. Tyler, slouched on my leather sectional, smirked at his phone, barely grunting when I mentioned my new corner office. I pushed through, serving the lasagna, determined to salvage the night. Then, as I poured coffee with dessert, Dad's tone turned cold. "Emily, we need to talk about this penthouse." My fork froze midair. "It's too much for one person," he said, leaning forward. "It should benefit the family." Mom nodded, her lips tight. "We've sacrificed so much for you, your education, your opportunities. This place is ours, too." Tyler chimed in, waving a sketch of renovation plans. "I'm thinking we knock out this wall, make it open concept." "Mom wants a bigger kitchen." I laughed, thinking it was a sick joke, but their faces were stone. "This is my home," I said, voice shaking. "I bought it. My name's on the deed." Dad's eyes narrowed. "Family shares, Emily. That's how it works." Mom's voice dripped guilt. "After all we've done, you're so selfish." Tyler leaned in, sneering. "You owe us." My heart pounded as Dad held out his hand.
"Keys. Now."
The room spun. I wanted to scream, but shock silenced me. With trembling fingers, I unhooked my keys, dropped them on the table, and grabbed my purse. "You'll regret this," Dad called as I stumbled out. I drove to Mia's, the bridge's lights blurring through tears, feeling like my world had imploded. Mia was livid when I told her. "They can't just take your home, Em. This is theft." I was still clinging to hope. Maybe it was a misunderstanding? But that bank email, time-stamped during my party, shattered any doubt. Someone had tried adding co-borrowers to my mortgage from an IP address I'd later traced to my parents' Tacoma home. They'd used my social security number, probably from papers they'd borrowed years ago. Mia handed me a coffee and her laptop. "We're calling a lawyer. Now." By morning, I'd booked Karen Walsh, a Seattle attorney with a rep for shredding property disputes. If you've ever been blindsided by family, hit that like button, and let's keep going. Karen's office. All sleek glass and Puget Sound views, felt like a fortress. At 50, with sharp eyes and a no BS vibe, she got straight to it. Your parents' claim is nonsense, she said, scanning my deed. You're the sole owner. But this mortgage hack? That's fraud. She dug deeper, pulling financial records that painted a grim picture. My parents were drowning in debt, 3 maxed-out credit cards, a $20,000 tax lien, and a second mortgage on their Tacoma house. My recent promotion, with a $50,000 raise, must have looked like their golden ticket. Karen's investigator uncovered something worse. 7 years ago, they'd tried siphoning my grandma's retirement fund, only stopped when she threatened legal action. Grandma, who'd passed 5 years back, had always been distant, and now I knew why. My parents had a history of this, and I'd been too naive to see it. The betrayal cut deeper than I expected. I'd spent years proving myself, to them, to the world. That penthouse, with its $800,000 price tag, was my proof. 20% down from my savings, every $3,500 monthly payment for my paycheck. I'd poured love into it, painting the walls sage green, installing smart lights, planting herbs on the balcony. It wasn't just a home. It was my escape from their control. Yet they saw it as theirs to claim. Mia, ever the voice of reason, pushed me to act. File a police report, she urged. Change your locks. This isn't over. I called the Seattle PD's non-emergency line, my voice cracking as I explained. The officer suggested meeting at my penthouse to check for unauthorized entry. If families ever turned on you, share in the comments. What would you do next? 2 hours later, I stood on my own doorstep with Officer Daniels, a burly guy with a notepad. Using a spare key from my car's lockbox, I opened the door, heart racing. The place was trashed, lasagna crusted on plates. My keys gone from the table. My office desk drawers gaped open, paper scattered. Someone's been here, Daniels said, jotting notes. File a report for trespassing and theft. As he handed me his card, my phone buzzed. Karen. Emily, we need to move fast. Your parents just tried accessing your bank account again. My knees buckled. This wasn't a one-off. They were relentless. I looked at Mia, her face set. We're going to war, she said. Smash that subscribe button, and let's see how I turn the tables. The weight of betrayal clung to me like damp Seattle fog as I stood in my violated penthouse, Officer Daniels' card still in my hand. Just hours ago, I'd fled my own promotion party, blindsided by my parents, Robert and Diane, and my brother Tyler demanding the keys to my home, my 1,200-square-foot haven overlooking Elliott Bay. Their cold claim, "This penthouse belongs to the family," had shattered me, and the bank's email revealing their attempt to hack my mortgage account twisted the knife. Mia, my lawyer best friend, had ignited a fire in me. This wasn't just family drama, it was a crime. I'd grown up caged by their control in Tacoma, every choice from friends to dreams dictated by them. My MIT degree, my tech career, and that penthouse, bought with my own $800,000 in sweat, were my escape. But learning they'd trashed my place and tried accessing my bank account again? That was war. Karen, my attorney, was already building a case, uncovering their history of financial manipulation. As I locked my penthouse door, resolve hardened in my chest. If families ever stabbed you in the back, drop it in the comments and let's see how I fought back. The drive back to Mia's Tacoma apartment felt endless. The Tacoma Narrows Bridge stretching like a metaphor for the gap between who I thought my family was and who they'd revealed themselves to be. My mind replayed the party. The lasagna I'd spent hours perfecting, the tiramisu dusted with cocoa, the fairy lights I'd hung to celebrate my lead developer role. I'd poured my heart into that night, hoping my parents would finally see me, Emily Harper, 30, self-made, not the kid they still tried to leash. Instead, Dad's voice had turned icy. Keys. Now. Mom's guilt trip. You're so selfish. Had stung worse than Tyler's smirk as he waved renovation plans. Leaving those keys on the table felt like surrendering my soul. But Karen's call about their latest bank account hack snapped me out of despair. "They're escalating," she'd warned. "We need to secure your assets and file for restraining order."
Mia.
Scrolling through lawyer reviews on her laptop, nodded. "Change your locks first thing tomorrow. They've got your keys." By 8 a.m., I was back at my penthouse with a locksmith, the Seattle skyline gray and brooding outside my windows. The place felt haunted. Dirty plates from the party still littered the counter. My office desk rifled through. My spare keys gone. The locksmith, a gruff guy named Pete, worked fast, installing deadbolts and a smart lock I could control from my phone. "Family trouble, huh?" he asked, eyeing the mess. I just nodded.
Too raw to explain.
As he packed up, my phone buzzed with a text from Tyler. "Asterisk, you're making a mistake. Family's supposed to share." Asterisk, I showed Mia, who snorted. "Share? They're trying to steal. Block him." I did, but the message left a chill. Karen called next, her voice clipped. "I've got a police report filed for trespassing and theft. Meet me at my office. We're drafting a cease and desist letter." If you've ever had to lock out family, hit that like button. Let's keep going. Karen's office, high above downtown Seattle, was all glass and steel, a stark contrast to the chaos in my head. She slid a folder across her desk, her sharp eyes steady. "Your parents and brother are in deep financial trouble. $50,000 in credit card debt, a $20,000 tax lien, and a second mortgage they can't afford. Your penthouse and your raise were their lifeline." My $50,000 salary but must have looked like a PowerPoint slide titled, "How to Save the Harpers." But what gutted me was her next reveal. They'd tried this before, with my grandma. 7 years ago. They'd attempted to transfer her $100,000 retirement fund into their names, only stopped when she lawyered up. Grandma's distance during my childhood suddenly made sense. She'd seen their true colors. "They're not just desperate," Karen said. "They're predators. We're filing for a temporary restraining order to keep them 500 feet from you and your property." The restraining order felt like a nuclear option, but their actions left me no choice. I'd spent years appeasing them, $2,000 for their property taxes, $1,500 for their water heater, because I believed family helped family. Now I saw it. Every favor was a hook, every guilt trip a leash. Mia, who'd driven me to Karen's, squeezed my hand. "You're not the bad guy, They crossed the line." Back at her place, I crashed on her couch, replaying the party. Dad's probing mortgage questions, fixed or variable, weren't curiosity. They were a reconnaissance. Mom's insistence on storing heirlooms in my penthouse wasn't sentimental. It was a claim. Tyler's renovation sketches weren't a joke. They were a plan. Sleep didn't come easy, but when it did, it was fitful, haunted by the clink of my keys hitting the table. The next morning, my phone woke me with a call from Sarah Miller at the bank. "Ms. Harper, we flagged another attempt to access your mortgage account last night. They tried changing the mailing address to a Tacoma P.O. box." My blood ran cold. They weren't stopping. Sarah confirmed my account was now locked with extra security, but advised contacting the police again. I called Officer Daniels, who added the attempt to my report. "You might want to check your credit too," he suggested. Sure enough, a credit alert showed someone, likely them, had tried opening a $10,000 line of credit in my name. I froze my credit, hands shaking as I dialed Karen. "This is identity theft," she said, her voice like steel. "We're adding it to the restraining order petition. Meet me at the courthouse tomorrow." The King County Courthouse loomed like a marble monolith, its halls echoing with the weight of justice. I arrived early, clutching a folder of evidence. The bank's emails, the police report, texts from Tyler. Karen, in a navy suit, coached me. "Stick to facts. Don't let them bait you emotionally." My parents and Tyler entered with their lawyer, a slick guy named Greg Larson. Dad looked smug in a cheap suit, Mom played the victim with teary eyes, and Tyler glowered, arms crossed. They didn't glance my way, but Mom's brief eye contact felt like a plea I refused to answer. Larson approached Karen with a smarmy offer. My clients will drop this misunderstanding if Emily agrees to family counseling. Karen shut him down. Your clients committed fraud and trespassing. We're proceeding. When our case was called, Judge Laura Bennett, a woman in her 60s with piercing eyes, reviewed our petition. Karen presented the evidence. The mortgage hack, the trashed penthouse, the credit attempt. Ms. Harper is the sole owner of her property, she said, handing over my deed. The defendants have no legal claim, yet persist in fraudulent and harassing behavior. Larson countered with a sob story. The Harpers are a tight-knit family. This is a communication breakdown, not a crime. Dad took the stand, his voice dripping with self-righteousness. We raised Emily, paid for her upbringing. Her success is ours, too. Judge Bennett wasn't buying it. Did you contribute to the penthouse purchase? She asked. Not directly, he admitted, shifting uncomfortably. The hearing ended with a temporary restraining order. 500 feet, 90 days. As we left, Mom called out, Emily, we're family. I kept walking, Karen's hand steady on my elbow. Victory felt hollow. My family was unraveling, but I wasn't done fighting. Smash that subscribe button, and let's see what they did next. The echo of my mother's voice, Emily, we're family, followed me out of the King County Courthouse, but I didn't look back. The temporary restraining order, keeping my parents, Robert and Diane, and my brother Tyler 500 feet from me and my Seattle penthouse, was a legal win, but it felt like a hollow punch. Just days ago, they'd crashed my promotion party, demanded my keys, and claimed my 200-square-foot sanctuary overlooking Elliott Bay as family property. The bank's email exposing their attempt to hack my mortgage account, followed by their rifling through my penthouse and trying to open a $10,000 credit line in my name, had shattered any illusion of love. Growing up in Tacoma under their suffocating control, every friend, outfit, and dream vetted by them had been hard enough. My MIT degree, my tech career, and that $800,000 penthouse, paid with my own sweat, were my freedom. Now, with Mia's fierce support and Karen's legal firepower, I was fighting back. But as I left the courthouse, Karen's warning rang. They're escalating. If family betrayals hit you, smash that like button, comment where you're watching, and let's see what happened next. Back at Mia's Tacoma apartment, I tried to process the courthouse scene. Karen had laid out the evidence like a prosecutor. The mortgage hack, the trashed penthouse, the credit fraud attempt. Judge Bennett's no-nonsense ruling, 90 days, 500 feet, felt like a shield. But my parents' lawyer's smarmy family counseling offer and Mom's teary plea gnawed at me. I'd spent years trying to earn their approval, funding their $2,000 tax bills, their $1,500 water heater, thinking it was what family did. Now I saw the truth. They'd never seen me as an equal, only a resource. Mia, pouring me coffee, cut through my fog. They're not done, Em. People like that don't stop. She was right. My phone buzzed with a voicemail from an unknown number. It was Dad, his voice low and menacing. You think a court order changes anything? We're family. You owe us. I played it for Karen over the phone.
Save it, she said.
It's evidence. The next morning, I woke to a credit alert. Another attempt to access my bank account. This time trying to transfer $5,000 to a Tacoma address. My heart raced as I called Sarah Miller at the bank. It's the same IP as before, she confirmed, locking my account tighter than Fort Knox. File a police report, Emily. This is identity theft. I met Officer Daniels at the Seattle PD, adding the attempt to my growing file. You've got a strong case, he said, but his tone was grim. Family disputes can get ugly. Ugly didn't cover it. Karen called as I left the station. I've got something you need to hear. My investigator found more on your parents. I braced myself. Driving to her office, the Puget Sound a gray blur outside my window. Karen's office felt like a war room. She slid a report across her desk, her expression grim. Your parents didn't just target your grandma 7 years ago. They tried the same stunt with your uncle, Diane's brother, 3 years back. Convinced him to invest $30,000 in a fake family business, then ghosted when he asked for it back. My uncle, who'd cut contact after Mom called him greedy, had been another victim. They're serial manipulators, Karen said. Your penthouse was their biggest score yet. My $50,000 raise, my $800,000 home, it all made sense. They saw me as a cash machine, not a daughter. I felt sick, but Karen wasn't done. We're adding this pattern to the restraining order petition. It shows intent. But, Emily, they're desperate. Watch your back. Desperate was an understatement. That evening, my phone lit up with a text from a cousin in Tacoma. Asterisk, heard you're suing your parents. How could you? Asterisk, then another from an aunt. Asterisk, family stays private, Emily.
Drop this.
Asterisk, my parents had launched a smear campaign, painting me as the ungrateful daughter on social media. A Facebook post from Mom, tagged with mutual friends, read, heartbroken our daughter turned on us after all we gave her. Comments piled up, old classmates, distant relatives, all buying their sob story. I wanted to scream, but Mia stopped me. Don't engage online. It's what they want. Instead, I sent a private message to those who reached out. I'm sorry you've been misled. My parents tried to steal my home. This is a legal matter now. Some backed off. Others doubled down, calling me cold. The isolation stung, but Mia's voice anchored me. You're not alone, Em. You've got me, Karen, your team. The real bombshell came the next day. My phone rang at 7 a.m. David and Gwen, my boss at the startup. Emily, your dad called the office yesterday, asking for your employment records for some family financial plan. When I refused, he got heated. My stomach dropped. They'd crossed into my career, my lifeline. David's voice softened. I've got your back. Security's on alert, and your job's safe. Take whatever time you need. Mortified, I thanked him, but the violation burned. Karen was furious when I told her. They're trying to sabotage your income. We're escalating to a permanent restraining order. She filed new charges: harassment, attempted fraud, and invasion of privacy. If you've had family cross lines like this, share in the comments. Let's keep going. The harassment didn't stop. 2 days later, I found a note slipped under my penthouse door. Despite the new smart locks, scrawled in Tyler's handwriting, asterisk, family sticks together. You're making a mistake. Asterisk, my security app showed a grainy clip of him at 2 a.m., hood up. Sliding the note through, I called Daniels, who added it to the police report. Get cameras covering every angle, he advised. I did, spending $1,500 on a full system, motion sensors, floodlights. The works. Sleeping in my own home felt like camping in a war zone, every creak a potential threat. Mia insisted I stay with her, but I refused. This is my home, I told her. They don't get to take that, too. The final straw came at work. A major client emailed David, CCNG me. We received an anonymous tip that Emily Harper is financially unstable. We're reconsidering our contract. My heart stopped. The tip came from a burner email, but the IP traced to my parents' Tacoma provider. They weren't just after my penthouse. They wanted to tank my career. David shut it down, assuring the client it was baseless, but the damage was done. I spent hours drafting apologies, my hands shaking. Karen added defamation to our case. This is a coordinated attack, she said. They're trying to break you. But I wasn't breaking. I was furious. Every dollar I'd earned, every late-night coding, every herb planted on my balcony, they didn't get to touch that. I looked at Mia, at Karen's evidence stack, and made a choice. No more playing defense. It was time to fight like hell. Smash that subscribe button, and let's see how I turn this around. The air in my Seattle penthouse felt heavy, like the city's infamous drizzle had seeped into my bones. The temporary restraining order, 500 feet, 90 days, hadn't stopped my parents, Robert and Diane, or my brother Tyler. Their betrayal at my promotion party, demanding the keys to my 1,200-square-foot sanctuary overlooking Elliott Bay, was just the start. The bank's email exposing their mortgage hack, Their ransacking of my home and their attempt to open a $10,000 credit line in my name had shattered my trust. Then came the smear campaign. Social media posts painting me as an ungrateful daughter. A note from Tyler under my door, and a tip to my client claiming I was financially unstable. My Tacoma childhood, suffocated by their control, had taught me to endure, but my MIT degree, tech career, and $800,000 penthouse were my rebellion. With Mia's fierce loyalty, Karen's legal arsenal, and my boss David's support, I was fighting back. But Karen's warning echoed. They're not stopping. As I checked my new security cameras, rage replaced fear. If families ever turned on you, hit that like button, comment your story, and let's see how I pushed back. Karen's office, with its Puget Sound view, was my war room. She slammed a new report on her desk, her eyes blazing. Your parents tried opening a credit card in your name, $15,000 limit. Linked to their Tacoma address. The bank flagged it. My jaw dropped. This wasn't just harassment, it was identity theft on steroids. The IP address matched their home. The same one used to send that defamatory email to my client. Karen added it to our case, now bulging with evidence. Mortgage fraud, trespassing, harassment, defamation. We're pushing for a permanent restraining order, she said. And I'm recommending criminal charges. Criminal charges against my parents? The idea felt like a gut punch. But their relentless attacks, $5,000 bank transfer attempts, that 2 a.m. note from Tyler, left no room for sentiment. Mia, who'd driven me, nodded. They're not your family anymore, Em. They're thieves. The smear campaign was escalating. My phone buzzed with texts from cousins, aunts, even my old high school coach. How could you see your parents? Mom's latest Facebook post, liked by 50 mutuals. Read, our daughters turned her back on us, all for a fancy penthouse. The comments, asterisk, she's always been selfish, asterisk, stung like wasps. I drafted a response, but Mia stopped me. Don't feed their narrative. Focus on the legal fight. Karen agreed, drafting a cease and desist letter demanding they stop the online slander. But the isolation was crushing. I'd spent years building my life. $160,000 down payment, $3,500 monthly mortgage payments, sage green walls I'd painted myself, only to be vilified by my own blood. If you've been shunned by family, drop it in the comments. Let's keep going. The next blow came at work. Another client, a $200,000 account, emailed David. We're concerned about Emily's stability after an anonymous tip. Same burner email, same Tacoma IP. My career, built on 80-hour weeks and countless code commits, was under siege. David, ever steady, reassured them, but I could feel the cracks forming. Our legal team's tracing the email, he told me. Focus on you. Your promotion's secure. I thanked him, but the stress was eating me alive. Sleepless nights in my penthouse, once my sanctuary, now felt like a fortress under attack. My $1,500 security system, cameras, motion sensors, caught Tyler driving by at odd hours, his truck idling down the street. He never crossed the 500-foot line, but his presence screamed threat. Officer Daniels added it to the report, but without a direct violation. His hands were tied. Karen called an emergency meeting. We've got enough for a permanent restraining order and a fraud case, she said, laying out the evidence. Bank records, police reports, Tyler's note, the defamatory emails. But there's more. My investigator found a complaint from your grandma's estate lawyer. Your parents tried forging her will to claim her $50,000 savings after she died. My grandma, who'd cut them off after their retirement fund scam, had been their first mark. Now I was their biggest. My $50,000 raise, my $800,000 penthouse, it was their twisted retirement plan. Karen's voice hardened. We're filing charges. Identity theft, fraud, harassment. You ready for this? I nodded, my throat tight. Let's end it. The courthouse loomed again. Its marble halls colder than before. I arrived in a black blazer, clutching my evidence folder, Karen at my side. My parents and Tyler entered with their lawyer, Greg Larson, who looked less smug this time. Dad's suit was wrinkled, Mom's eyes red, and Tyler's scowl could have cracked glass. They avoided my gaze, but I felt their resentment like a physical weight. Larson tried another plea. My clients want mediation, not escalation. Karen shut it down. Mediation's for misunderstandings. This is crime. Judge Laura Bennett, her eyes sharp as ever, called our case. Karen presented the evidence like a master chess player. The credit card attempt, the defamatory emails, Tyler's note, the estate fraud. The defendants have a documented pattern of financial manipulation, she said, handing over the grandma complaint. Ms. Harper deserves protection. Larson's defense was weak. Dad took the stand, his voice dripping with self-pity. We just wanted to help Emily manage her success. She's too young for that big penthouse. Bennett cut in. Did you contribute to its purchase? Not directly, he mumbled. Mom's testimony was a tearful mess. She's our daughter. We're family. Tyler, when questioned about the note, shrugged, just reminding her of family loyalty. Bennett's expression soured. Loyalty doesn't include identity theft, Mr. Harper. The courtroom felt electric as Karen played Dad's voicemail. You owe us. Gasps rippled through the gallery. Bennett granted the permanent restraining order. No contact, 500 feet, indefinite. This court takes fraud seriously, she warned. Further violations will lead to arrests. As we left, Mom sobbed. Emily, please. I kept walking, Karen's hand steady on my arm. The victory should have felt triumphant, but it was bittersweet. My family, the ones who'd cheered my first coding project, who'd driven me to Tacoma soccer games, were gone, replaced by strangers consumed by greed. Back at Mia's, I broke down. How did it come to this? I asked, tears soaking her couch. She hugged me tight. They chose this, not you. You protected what's yours. Karen called with an update. The fraud charges were moving forward, with a hearing set in a month. The police were investigating the credit card attempt, and Tyler's late-night drive-bys were under scrutiny. You're safe for now, she said. But stay vigilant. I returned to my penthouse, the sage-green walls and herb-lined balcony feeling foreign. I'd won a battle, but the war wasn't over. If you fought for what's yours, share in the comments and smash that subscribe button. Let's see what they tried next. The permanent restraining order felt like a steel gate slamming shut on my parents, Robert and Diane, and my brother Tyler, but the scars of their betrayal still throbbed. They'd crashed my Seattle penthouse promotion party, demanded my keys, and claimed my $800,000 home as family property. Their mortgage hack, identity theft attempts, and defamatory emails to my clients had turned my Tacoma childhood control into a full-blown criminal scheme. Karen's evidence, bank records, Tyler's threatening note, their history of scamming my grandma, had convinced Judge Bennett to ban them indefinitely from my life. But walking out of the King County Courthouse, Mom's desperate "Emily, please," echoed in my head. My MIT degree, tech career, and sage-green penthouse were my escape from their grip, yet they'd nearly stolen it all. Mia's fierce support and Karen's legal muscle had carried me through, but the war wasn't over. Their social media smear campaign and Tyler's late-night drive-bys lingered like storm clouds. If families ever burned you, hit that like button, comment your story, and let's see what hit next. Back in my penthouse, the Elliott Bay view couldn't soothe the violation. My $1.500 security system, cameras, floodlights, kept watch, but every creak felt like Tyler lurking. Then, a bombshell. David, my boss, forwarded an email sent to our entire 200-person company, accusing me of embezzling project funds. The IP traced to my parents' Tacoma home. My stomach churned. This wasn't just personal. They were torching my career. David shut it down, his legal team labeling it defamation, but the damage stung. We're behind you, Emily, he said, but I felt exposed, my $50,000 raise and lead developer role at risk. Karen added the email to our fraud case, now headed for criminal court. They're desperate, she warned. They're lashing out because they lost. The harassment escalated. A package arrived at my penthouse, my grandma's pearl necklace, which Mom had stored there, now broken, with a note. "You broke our family," I called Officer Daniels, who logged it as a restraining order violation. Social media grew uglier. Dad posted, "Our daughter chose greed over family," racking up 100 likes from clueless relatives. I stopped responding, leaning on Mia's advice. Starve their drama. But the isolation was brutal. I'd built this life. $160,000 down payment, $3,500 monthly mortgage, Urbline balcony. Yet felt like a stranger in it. Karen pushed forward, filing for damages. $10,000 for emotional distress, $5,000 for security upgrades. "We're hitting them where it hurts," she said. Then, a chilling discovery. My credit report showed a $20,000 loan application, forged with my social security number, linked to Tyler's contractor business. Karen pounced, adding it to the charges. Identity theft, fraud, harassment. "They're digging their own grave," she said. The police raided their Tacoma home, finding my stolen financial documents. Arrest warrants loomed. I should have felt vindicated. But grief hit instead. These were the people who taught me to ride a bike, now reduced to criminals. Mia hugged me. "You're not losing family. You're gaining freedom." As the criminal hearing neared, I steeled myself. They tried to break me, but I was ready to expose their fraud in court. Smash that subscribe button, and let's see how it unfolded. The permanent restraining order was my shield, but the wounds from my parents, Robert and Diane, and my brother Tyler ran deep. Their betrayal at my Seattle Penthouse promotion party, demanding my keys, claiming my $800,000 home, had spiraled into mortgage hacks, identity theft, and a defamatory email to my entire company. Karen's evidence, from their grandma scamming past to Tyler's threatening note, had locked them out of my life. But their latest stunt, a forged $20,000 loan in my name and a broken necklace with a spiteful note, proved they were unhinged. My Tacoma childhood, choked by their control, had forged my resilience, and my MIT degree and tech career were my escape. With Mia's grit, Karen's legal hammer, and David's support, I was fighting back. As the police raided their Tacoma home, finding my stolen documents, I braced for the criminal hearing. If families ever turned on you, smash that like button, comment your story. And let's see what hit next. The nightmare peaked when Tyler broke into my penthouse, caught on my $1,500 security cameras, smashing a mirror and spray painting Harper House on my sage green walls. I watched the footage, heart pounding, as Officer Daniels arrested him on site, finding a forged deed with my signature. At the police station, Tyler's plea, "We're family, fell flat. Karen pounced, adding vandalism and forgery to the charges. "This is a slam dunk," she said. In court, Judge Bennett's eyes blazed as she reviewed the video. "This is criminal," she ruled, extending Tyler's probation and warning my parents of jail time. The police confirmed their Tacoma raid uncovered my social security card, sealing their fraud case. I faced Tyler's glare, my voice steady. "You chose this." Grief hit. My bike riding, soccer cheering family was gone. But rage fueled me. They tried to steal my home, my career, my peace. No more. Karen filed for $15,000 in damages, covering repairs and stress. The hearing loomed, my evidence airtight. I wasn't just protecting my penthouse. I was reclaiming my life. Mia hugged me. "You're unstoppable, Em." As I walked my balcony, Elliott Bay glittering, I knew the fight wasn't over. But I was ready. Subscribe, share your fight in the comments, and let's see how I sealed their fate. The Seattle skyline glittered beyond my penthouse windows, but the victory of the permanent restraining order felt bittersweet. My parents, Robert and Diane, and my brother Tyler had turned my promotion party into a nightmare, demanding the keys to my $800,000 home and escalating to mortgage hacks, identity theft, and defamation that nearly tanked my tech career. Tyler's break-in, smashing my mirror, spray painting Harper House on my sage green walls, caught on my $1,500 security cameras, had landed him on probation, with a forged deed sealing his guilt. Karen's evidence, from their $20,000 loan fraud to their scam on my grandma, had convinced Judge Bennett to warn them of jail time. My Tacoma childhood, suffocated by their control, had forged my grit, and my MIT degree and penthouse were my freedom.
Mia's loyalty.
David's support and Karen's legal prowess had carried me, but the police raid on their Tacoma home, uncovering my stolen Social Security card, signaled the endgame. As I faced the criminal hearing, resolve burned bright. If families betrayed you, hit that like button, comment your story, and let's see how I close this chapter. The King County Courthouse felt like a battlefield. Karen, in a crisp blazer, laid out our case: mortgage fraud, identity theft, vandalism, defamation. The defendants orchestrated a campaign to steal Ms. Harper's $800,000 penthouse, she said. Presenting the raid's haul, my financial documents, the forged deed. My parents' lawyer, Greg Larson, floundered, claiming family disputes gone awry. Dad's testimony was a weak sob story. We just wanted to guide Emily. Mom's tears fell, but Judge Bennett's eyes were steel. You forged documents and defamed her career, she snapped, citing the company-wide email. Tyler's vandalism video played, his spray paint defacing my walls. This isn't guidance, it's crime, Bennett ruled. She upheld the permanent restraining order, ordered $15,000 in damages for repairs and distress, and referred fraud charges to prosecutors. Further violations mean prison, she warned. My parents sat stunned. Tyler's scowl faded. I walked out, Karen's hand on my shoulder, feeling a weight lift but grief linger. Back at my penthouse, Elliott Bay sparkled, but the scars remained. Those walls, once my pride, held memories of Tyler's paint. I hired contractors to repaint bright ivory, erasing his mark. Mia helped me rehang photos, her voice firm. This is your home, Em. They don't get to taint it. David called, promoting me to senior developer, a $20,000 raise. Your resilience impressed the board, he said. The irony stung. Their sabotage had pushed me higher. But the loss ached. My family bike rides, Tacoma soccer games, was gone, replaced by greed. I joined a support group for family estrangement, finding solace in shared stories. One night, staring at my herb-lined balcony, I realized I wasn't alone. Mia, David, the group were my new family. The criminal case loomed, but I was ready to face it, to end their reign over my peace. Smash that subscribe button. Share your fight in the comments, and let's see how I rebuilt. The King County Courthouse ruling, permanent restraining order, $15,000 in damages and fraud charges, finally silenced my parents, Robert and Diane, and my brother Tyler. Their betrayal at my Seattle penthouse promotion party, demanding my $800,000 home's keys, had spiraled into mortgage hacks, identity theft, and Tyler's vandalism, defacing my sage green walls. My Tacoma childhood's control fueled my resilience. My MIT degree and tech career were my escape. With Mia's grit, Karen's legal mastery, and David's support, I'd expose their crimes, from a $20,000 forged loan to grandma's scam. Repainting my penthouse ivory and earning a senior developer promotion felt like reclaiming my life. But grief lingered for the family I'd lost. If betrayals hit you, comment your story. Let's keep going. My penthouse became a sanctuary again. Contractors installed a sleek quartz bar, erasing Tyler's damage. I hosted a housewarming, Mia toasting, to Emily's haven. David and my support group joined, their laughter healing old wounds. My $20,000 raise funded therapy, helping me process the loss. The criminal case loomed, but I was free. My home, career, and heart mine alone. I built a new family, rooted in respect, not control. Share how you've rebuilt below, and let's see what's next. My Seattle penthouse, now glowing with ivory walls and a sleek quartz bar, felt like mine again after the permanent restraining order and $15,000 damages shut down my parents, Robert and Diane, and my brother Tyler. Their betrayal at my promotion party, demanding my $800,000 home's keys, had exploded into mortgage hacks, identity theft, and Tyler's vandalism, caught on my $1,500 cameras. My Tacoma childhood's control had forged my strength. My MIT degree and tech career were my freedom. Karen's legal victories, Mia's fierce support, and David's backing had exposed their fraud, from a $20,000 forged loan to their scam on my grandma. My senior developer promotion and housewarming with my chosen family, Mia, David, my support group, marked a new chapter, but healing wasn't done. If you've rebuilt after betrayal, share below. Let's dive deeper. One night, I sat on my herb-lined balcony, Elliott Bay shimmering, and wrote a letter to my parents I'd never send. You tried to steal my home, but I reclaimed my life. I burned it in my fireplace, the flames freeing me from their shadow. Therapy helped me embrace my worth, untangled from their greed. My penthouse, my peace, was mine. Share your healing journey below. What's next? The Elliott Bay view from my Seattle penthouse sparkled, mirroring the peace I'd fought for. The permanent restraining order, $15,000 damages, and looming fraud charges had stopped my parents, Robert and Diane, and my brother Tyler. Their betrayal at my promotion party, demanding my $800,000 home's keys, had spiraled into mortgage hacks, identity theft, and Tyler's vandalism, defacing my walls. My Tacoma childhood's control fueled my grit. My MIT degree and tech career were my freedom. Karen's legal wins, Mia's unwavering support, and David's backing exposed their crimes. From a $20,000 forged loan to their scam on my grandma, repainting my penthouse ivory, earning a senior developer promotion, and burning that unsent letter to my parents marked my healing. If you've found peace after betrayal, share below. Let's wrap this up. My penthouse, now a sanctuary with a quartz bar and herb-lined balcony, hosted my chosen family, Mia, David, my support group. Therapy taught me boundaries aren't selfish. True family respects you. I learned to protect my worth, not just my home. The criminal case awaits, but I'm free, my life mine. Share how you set boundaries below. Next, we'll explore another fight for justice. Stay tuned.